a basketball situation that is appealing to him, that he'd want to put himself
he wants to
in.
play with Curry. I mean, he's always hinted and
I
said
think that's
that,
probably where Will's position comes from to a degree.
And they could make it happen. I mean, via trade.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And maybe that is the move there.
That wouldn't move me at all. Like
No,
the
reality is that this guy that some regard as the greatest player of all time doesn't have a market. He doesn't. He's not moving the needle for any organization. We're past the point of if wherever LeBron goes, success and championships, or at least conference finals, are going to follow. We're past that. I gave it a C+.
Yeah.
And I didn't really read the post. Like, I look at it like, what do we regard of LeBron's time with the Lakers?
Uh-huh.
And I look at it as close to a failure. I know they won the bubble title, but almost every other season they've been like a barely in or barely out of the playoffs. And they've been more disappointing than anything else during his whole time there.
I fully disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I gave it a B+ because of the championship, but also they made it to the Western Conference Finals. So if you got a team throughout whatever this is, 5-year stretch? What how long has he been with the Lakers? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
4 years at the very least, probably 5. Okay? And so you win a championship and you make it to a Western Conference Finals. And then, I think 2 of those years you missed the playoffs.
Well, they made the Western Conference Finals from the play-in.
But they made it, and a lot factored into that. You had injuries, you had things of that nature. You had roster turnover, that led to them being in the play-in. That huge trade that we had a couple of players. So when you look at it, what I gave it a B+ is because if I give it any lower, then that means I have to give every team lower. I mean, like what other team has had a better stretch? Outside of I don't know what other team has that, because literally, I mean, maybe you could say Denver, because I think in that stretch Denver might have made the playoffs one more additional time than the Lakers. But what other team would you say?
Well, what I was going to say,
Lord knows my 76ers will be an F if that's the grading scale.
Will's question was really specific to LeBron's play.
Yeah.
So. And if you look at it that way, and you look at it in the context that Will wants you to, year 17 to 21, who's ever done this? Okay, yeah, he's had last 4 or 5 years.
Even
I know what
level
you're saying.
playing field.
I can't get the stink off the Lakers. They've just been a monumental disappointment, and they're a team that I think has been like force fed on us with these national games, and they're shit to watch. They've been like, They've never been like enjoyable over this period of time. They have always had like background drama, frustration, some level of underachievement. They've been a miserable shit show.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how I responded to that question. I didn't answer the question he asked, but that's why I was like C+, man. This is they had the one great championship thing, and then the rest of the time they're basically a fringe playoff team, but they always come in with some higher level of expectation, and then they kind of underachieve.
So what do you have any strong feelings on what he should do, where you think he'll go? Will thinks he's going to Golden State, and I think first of all I think that's just preposterous, but he says, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
So and for whatever that's worth, and I know Will knows people, so maybe, but
I don't know. I mean, what what does he want? Like, and it's weird because he's kind of done it all in a way, and so there's not one thing out there. I mean, it's kind of been, play with your son in an NBA game. That was like literally the only thing that was out there that hasn't been achieved.
But then you have okay, the play with your son thing would work in LA. The thing is, like I said, LA is screwed because they're going to go all out to keep him, and I guess you kind of have to.
Right.
You kind of have to, I guess, because if you just let him walk and he walks for nothing, then you're just stuck with the AD-led team, and then you're gonna have to re-sign D'Lo, all of that. Then you're a fringe playing team guaranteed, and that's if everyone stays healthy for 80 games.
Right.
But so outside of that, you're gonna have to give LeBron the max for whatever 3 or 4 year max. That's awful. That's similar to that Kobe deal.
Well, that's why I say, like, what does he actually want? And like, does playing with his son, is that the high priority?
I think so.
The Lakers could appease that, but if that's the high priority, maybe he does take less money and be like, yeah.
No,
but maybe I'm just saying, like if he just wants the most money and play with your son and basically stay at his new home in Los Angeles, just then stay with the Lakers and don't worry about it. Make him pay it and call it a day.
That would be the play if he stays with the Lakers, because the problem is with the Lakers is even if he takes less, even if he takes the minimum, they're still screwed financially. So it wouldn't behoove him, and then they're going to be forced into drafting a guy who's just not ready to be drafted now and all of that. But now I don't want the only team that has championship aspirations, that has a roster that he can go to, that has the money, is 76ers, and I don't want him. And LeBron is, one of my favorite players of all time.
Well, that's the other, like,
and
okay, when I ask the question, what does he want? If it's not stay with the Lakers and play with Bronny, is there a basketball situation that is appealing to him that he'd want to put himself in?
He wants to play with Curry. I mean, he's always hinted and
I
said
think that's
that,
probably where Will's position comes from, too.
Yeah, and they could make it happen. I mean, via a trade.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And maybe that is the move there.
That wouldn't move me at all. Like
no,
the
reality is this guy that some regard as the greatest player of all time doesn't have a market. He doesn't. He's not moving the needle for any organization. We're past the point of if wherever LeBron goes, success and championships, or at least conference finals, are going to follow. We're past that.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what is the market for a guy that, contract wise could command a tremendous sum of money, but is it really worth it?
No.
Like, I mean, it's crazy to say this, but like, what are the teams that line up for LeBron right now? Who does he make sense for?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There'll be some sorry teams and some marginal teams,
teams
that are not selling tickets.
Than you think.
No. He's not in the Carmelo, Dwayne Wade. He's not in that range. No. There will be teams lining up, but there won't be many championship contenders. Just because I don't want LeBron doesn't mean if he goes knocking at the 76ers door, the 76ers won't go get him. You know what I mean? Like, if he made it clear that he wanted to come there, he would be there. To my dismay.
I raise questions on that. I really do. When it comes down to, because it's not like, again, when he comes, the circus comes with him, and it can sell tickets, but it also puts your whole situation under a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And you have to accommodate him at this point, whatever that may look like. I'm not exactly sure, but that's this is not just an easy sell. Let's just say you're the Magic and you kind of have this younger nucleus of guys,
and they have the money,
and you're growing, and maybe you have the money to do it, but does it make sense in basketball terms? I'm not sure.
Not a ton.
I mean, and then you're saying, like, there's very bad teams who aren't selling tickets.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense for either party, really. He's not going to lift you that high, and he probably is not attracted to playing with your dysfunctional band of players. The Cleveland thing is always there because it's his home. If whatever Donovan Mitchell left and they brought him in with the rest of those guys and kind of had a go at it. I'm not afraid they're going to win a title, but I'm just saying, like, that's probably a viable thing.
It's okay, yeah.
But there's no great move.
Yeah.
That's the reality. We have a guy that's one of the greatest players of all time without question, and he's at an age and a period in his career when it's not an obvious great move for most teams.
I'll tell you what. You swipe Tobias Harris out with this version this year of LeBron James, and he might get a worse. The odds are he gets a little worse next year. I understand that. But if you just swipe those two, I mean, I'd like us to get to the championship this year. I just do. I mean, if
Yeah.
you just made that one simple swap, which works.
The irony is when he went to L.A., and at that time it was Embiid and Ben Simmons. I thought that
I thought he should have.
I thought that was about as good a basketball situation as he could have entertained.
Yeah, that was that. I know the L.A. with the movies thing, but I just in my mind, because I'm a 76ers fan, I'm just like, well, I mean, shit, man, you could do movies anywhere, anytime. I guess I don't know, but he made it there. And the first year, they kind of struggled. They struggled with the Lakers the first year he got there.
Well, he had the young guys, and it didn't really work.
Yeah,
and
with
he missed some
the
time
Brandon
with injury,
Ingram and all of that.
They sent Luke Walton out to pasture.
Yeah. And the 76ers was definitely a better option.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he knew something that we all didn't know. I mean, Ben Simmons was one of his guys they worked out with. He knew. And I don't blame him for that. But, you get rid of everybody else. You could have got rid of him. You know what I mean?
It's I mean, like, the reality is, even if it was, if it wasn't Ben Simmons, they could have moved Ben at that time, and that would have been a good Ben to move.
That would have been a great time to move because he still had the cachet.
Yeah, no, he had
the value.
Quite bottomed out. So
no, not at all.
Yeah, they could have commanded a lot in a trade there, and you could have easily done it like that. Him and LeBron are not compatible playing together.
Yeah, you could have.
We have to go with LeBron,
Yeah.
kind of like when they ran Jameis out of town for Tom Brady. Nobody's going to question.
Nobody's going to.
Yeah, you let go of a young player that seems on the rise.
No, that's a great analogy.
And
that's a great example.
And that's it.
That was a great example. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, basketball-wise, and it would be funny if he did go to Philly 5 years after. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We got a long off season. We'll see where the Lakers go.
Is there any possibility that he retires?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He would, he would choose to play with his son at least 1 year before he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No retirement.